Hello, beautiful beings of light. Thank you so much for joining me here on YouTube. A little bit different than our regular rendezvous on Instagram. But I had a lot of interest and intrigue into one of the most recent transitions I did on my Instagram and one of the flows I posted where I moved from a bit of a split into a side straddle up into a forearm balance and a cross. Yeah, kind of sounds familiar maybe. So I had a lot of you asking if A, I could incorporate this into one of my Zoom classes, or B, just give a little bit more information on how I did this transition. And just with the restrictions of Instagram, I thought this was going to be a much easier way for me to relay that information for you. Before we do, just a couple of important things I want to touch on before we get moving. First of all, if you have never done a forearm balance before, this is maybe not the one for you. We're doing a staggered arm, we're doing a split action. So if you have not ever been on your forearms in a balance, come back to this later, maybe send me a request for a proper forearm tutorial and we'll start with the basics there. If you have and you're feeling good and ready to go cognitively, the second thing is to make sure that you are physically warmed up. So this is not going to be a full proper flow class. I am not going to be taking the time to warm you up for this. This is just a tutorial. So please take the responsibility for yourself, for your own benefit, to take the time to warm up. That includes shoulder blades, scapula, all of that. That deep core, your deep stabilizers. Make sure the legs and the hips are warmed up before you start trying to balance the splits on your arms. Yeah? Let's use our brains here. Okay, so if you've already done a little bit of warm up and you know you're ready to go, we'll keep going. If not, this is your time to press pause and come back to me in a moment. Okay. Also, last thing before we do get started, if you enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe. I plan on doing many more of these types of videos, tutorials, all of these things that I want to share. If you have any requests, please leave that in the comments below as well so that I know what you're interested in. And I think that's it. All right, like, subscribe, follow along, press pause, go back, rewind. You've got the power. You've got the power. And we're gonna get started. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so we are just about ready to get started, but one last thing before we do. I'm going to be cueing bottom leg and top leg to reduce as much confusion as possible. I highly recommend that your top leg be opposite to your strongest arm / side of the upper body. So wherever you feel the most comfortable shifting and taking your body weight into, that your top leg be the opposite to that. Yeah? Of course, eventually we're going to switch and we want to be able to do both sides with equal strength and capability, but while you're learning and getting started, that's how I would recommend you do it. Alright, so coming to a 4-point kneeling position, stacking the shoulders over the wrists, feeling scapula flat onto the back of the rib cage with strength and stability, walking the legs out to a plank, hinging at the hip to open the sit bones to the ceiling. Take a moment to make sure you have that strength and connection of rib cage and shoulder. Then your top leg, whichever that leg is for you, is going to inhale, float up to the ceiling as you allow the bottom heel to float up with it. At this point, still trying to stay as squared off and parallel as possible. Then pressing through the heels, flexing the ankles as we allow the thigh bones to rotate out, drawing the tailbone under as we rotate into an open side split. Inhale, rotate the thigh bones back to parallel, squaring off the hips as the bottom heel once again floats back off. Exhale, we'll press back into that rotation. Make sure the booty has not gone out behind you. Yeah, draw the rib and hip bones together and keep those obliques strong. That's really going to make a big difference in the next part. So we're feeling that natural bit of rotation happening through the spine, which is going to guide you to place that back elbow down to the ground. Here, you'll notice you have a triangle set up with your two hands and that back elbow. If it's not, adjust until you do see that you're in a triangle base. The head is going to aim and shoot towards that back center hand, which will be the top of our triangle. In order to do that, your back heel will inhale float to help you shift the weight. And then for now, we'll just place the heel back down. So I would recommend doing this a couple times first to practice taking that shift of weight into the arms. If and when this is feeling good and you're ready to go into the next bit, as you take the full shift of weight, allow the top leg to come forward and down to help counterbalance that shift. So we'll take the float of the bottom heel, shifting the body weight into the arms, floating the bottom and the top leg to then switch to land to the other foot, so that if we were going into the flow, we could continue to needle the leg under. But for now, we're going to leave it there because we're going to do the other side. So depending on how that felt, you might just want to press pause, try that a couple more times, rewind, or if you're ready, hop into the second side with me and we'll practice the second side. Okay, so coming back into that 4-point kneeling, we'll stack the shoulders over the wrists, walking the legs out to a full plank, taking that same inhale, hinge at the hip and anchoring the heels. Again, your top leg will inhale, float up, second side, whichever that is for you, allowing the bottom heel to inhale, float up with it. Exhale, press the energy through the heels, flexing the ankles and allowing the thighs to rotate, drawing the tailbone under. Inhale, rotate everything back to parallel, squaring off the hips, connect the rib cage, and then once again, exhale, press to spiral open. That spiral of the spine helps to land the back forearm. And here, we're going to take those little preps, shifting the weight towards the hands into the arms, and then back into the heel. If you don't feel quite ready to take a full shift, but you want to practice getting the foot off, you can start to do little floats, like so, until either maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe never, you eventually feel ready to take that full shift. Allow the top leg to come down a bit, balance yourself out, landing the top foot, taking the other leg over. We'll needle it through and leave it there. I will very briefly, just once, walk through the whole flow if you're wanting to put it together and you want a little bit of a verbal cue to go with it. However, if that is feeling like it's just at its beginning stages, I would not recommend going into the flow portion of this just yet. Yeah, so if you're feeling good and now you want to sequence it in with everything else, we'll carry on together. If not, just keep going back, rewind, press pause, practice, 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 yeah? And eventually, I promise, it will come. So, to go into the flow, we are coming back to that plank position. Stacking shoulders over wrists, like always. Walking the legs out, and then your top leg is going to be the one to inhale, lift the heel up in line with the torso. A single shift into your bottom heel as we point to that top foot. Then inhale, return the head and the shoulders over the wrists as we flex. Repeating that motion, but this time folding into the hip and the knee on the bottom until they press to straighten. Floating the heel, this leg continues to reach so much, it has to curl and help you shift forward and under. Then we'll reverse that action, hugging the leg into the chest, keeping that back heel lifted so that we're already in this split. Exhale, press through the heels, rotating the thighs under, dropping the tailbone. Inhale to pull it back. Exhale to press back into the split, allowing that bottom forearm to come under, taking the shift of weight to land across and take the sweep. Hugging the leg underneath. Now here you're going to needle it through. Feel the outside of that foot, press both hips open. Try not to go into the low back here. You can make up the arm, whatever feels good. To place that arm down beside your other hand, stepping this leg back to place your bottom knee and take a nice breath and stretch into a little side bend sweep. From here, exhale, keep the bottom glute active and supported as we tap elbow to knee on the top side. Inhale, we'll stretch back out. Then we're going to needle the fingertip to the back ankle as we also step this bottom leg to join it. And then from here, releasing back to the plank as you soften the weight out of that top side so that it can slip in underneath. Your arm is going to slip and slide with it to shift the weight and keep bent leg bent, straight leg straight. The top leg inhale floats us up just like in our inverted V. The heel floats with it. To exhale all the way down to feel the opposite fingertips pull us around and back up. Hopefully you don't have a couch in your way. Shifting the weight into the hands to step ourselves back into the second side. We would inhale, shift the weight, return to flex, shift this time folding into the hip and the knee to reach all the way up and over, pulling thigh to chest. Reverse the direction back into the top of that split, anchoring through the heels as you split to rotate open. Inhale, pulls back, squaring off the hips. Exhale, press and rotate open once again, landing the back forearm to the floor, taking the leg across, shifting the weight into the other leg, sweeping over, then under. Here you'll get a better sense of what's happening with the back side of the body. So feel both glutes working to press, but keeping rib cage connected to open. And then bringing it back under, placing that hand beside to place the opposite knee, straighten that leg so you're in one straight line from foot, knee, and wrist. To inhale, stretch it out. We add the exhale tap of knee to elbow. To inhale, reach. Then we step the bottom leg back as we needle the fingertips to tap the ankle. Unraveling back to the straight line, the top leg softens so it can slip and slide under. Once again, the bottom leg stays straight, top leg stays bent. They both inhale up, floating the bottom heel. Exhale the leg down as the other hand comes across. Feel that push through the glute to twist the hip, hinging us around. Again, little shift of weight into the hands to step back, and you'd be ready to just keep on going from right side to left side until you just can't anymore. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. Again, not a full breakdown in terms of what we would do in a class, but hopefully enough to help get you started at home if you needed that little bit of extra clarification. If you are wanting to take a class, a reminder that the link is down in the caption below. If you enjoyed this, please make sure you like and subscribe and leave your comments and feedback. So if you have recommendations for other little tutorials and things like this you'd like me to do in the future, or whatever your comments might want to be, I am always here for you in whatever way you need. Okay, so I look forward to seeing you all soon, whether that's back here or on Instagram, and I hope you have a lovely day, and bye.